located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to An Impact on Your Health. An Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. An Impact on Your Health is heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. An Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and where we do encourage you to call in to join in today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we launch our new relationship with a company that, well, you actually brought to us a number of months ago, talking about the use of minerals, trace minerals, ionic trace minerals, all circling around a company called Trace Mineral Research. They're located in Utah, but we have our local representative, a gentleman who represents the company, Trace Mineral Research, as our guest today. His name is Dr. Darren Starkey. We're going to be talking about minerals in a way I think we can drive that message home to you, and of course, bringing to you a line of trace minerals that will be able to take your body to a level of health that it really can't achieve without it. Now, I think we've been slighting you for a number of years now because we just really have not brought this topic to you in a way that I'm sure we hope to be able to drive it home today to show you how it will benefit you to deal with your mineral needs, your trace mineral needs, and how it will make you achieve a level of health that heretofore has been literally unobtainable. So we're going to be talking about trace minerals today. Now look, if in the course of our discussion with Dr. Starkey and this issue of trace minerals, you want to ask a question or you want to make a comment, that number, of course, will be 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262 as we continue on our topic for today. Now, looking for further topics as we move further into the future, let's take a look at, let's see. Next up this month will be Dr. Peter DeWitt. You know him very well because he's come to talk about a unique approach to disease, which he claims is a blessing. Disease being a blessing was pretty much a new concept for me and for you. And then his approach about your ability to beat all disease, and he does mean it too. We're going to bring him with us on Wednesday of this coming week, talking about the treatment of cancer as he approaches it, utilizing his Heal Thyself approach that we've discussed many times before when he's been our guest. So that's going to be our featured guest for the 26th. Now, turning the page into the month of February, February is building up. We are getting our guests lined up. We started with Dr. Susan Smith-Jones, who's going to be our guest on the 9th of February, talking about natural libido-boosting remedies. She calls it her Valentine's Day gift to you, which just a few days preceding it probably worked out to be true. Doug Inglesby comes with us on the following week, on the 16th, talking about pharmaceutical preparations and how the way they're packaging them to us is really not in the best interest of any of us. That's Doug Inglesby on the 16th. Then the following week, literally, I think we could frame them talking about the two shows we're going to do on the 21st and 23rd around the issue of diabetes. Now, we've had Alan Ridgway here before. He represents a company that caters to the diabetic. If you are a diabetic, you won't want to miss our show with Alan on the 21st. He does come to our office, and many of you know him who do see him in our office. He is the one that fits you for diabetic shoes and shoe inserts and the like. And we've had him on the show talking about that before. There are other products that are unique and new to the diabetic that he'll bring to us when he comes with us on the 21st of the month, talking about the shoes for sure, the inserts for sure, but other new products that the diabetics would be able to benefit from that heretofore haven't even been on the market. And we always like to be the first. I always like to bring you the most recent and current products and information that are available, and we'll do that on the 21st with Alan. Then on the 23rd, I met this gentleman through Alan. His name is Kurt Dombrowski. Diabetics and non-diabetics have wounds that they develop through the course of their lifetimes, and a new product to deal with these wounds called RTD dressings. Now, they literally have revolutionized the wound healing industry. Diabetics have a special place when it comes to wound healing because it's so difficult for them to actually go through complete healing process in a way that the non-diabetic does. But these RTD dressings are the newest things out. I want to bring them to the attention of the diabetic in particular, but they can be used for anybody with a wound, and more than likely should be in your medicine cabinet at home alongside of your Band-Aids, because these things do things that the Band-Aids really can't. So Kurt Dombrowski is going to be our guest on the 23rd. That is how February is shaping up, and hopefully you'll be with us each and every step of the way. I do want to thank, I thought we had a very interesting show with Roland Thomas on Monday talking about bioengineered algae and the work of Dr. Kiriak from Russia. I thought that was bringing a first to you. The fact that there literally is a supplement that comes from this, Roland Thomas promised to come back to talk more about it. I promised to bring him back to you as soon as we can and really hone in on the supplements themselves. Literally, the message was this should be able to replace all your other supplements, which I think is an interesting reason to bring the gentleman back, and we'll bring him back in the very near future. And so that's the way it shapes up right about now. Look, what I'd like to do is quickly take a break to allow me to get a hold of our guest for today. We've got so much to discuss about a topic we've really slighted you on. I think that's a fair way to say it. We've slighted you folks in the past. We're going to rectify that today, talking about trace minerals, trace ionic minerals, through the company's representative, Dr. Darren Starkey. We'll be back in a moment with Darren.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Honey, just got the word. The company's new health plan has a $5,000 deductible. We have to make sure nobody gets sick this year. Remember what those doctor's visits cost for last year's colds and flu? Oh, sorry, I gotta go. Love you.
We can do this. We can cut the fast food lunches. Soda, that's a lot of sugar. We could all take that evening walk. And hey, I heard a program about fruit. Fruit of the spirit. What did they say? 1 ounce, the equivalent of 5 servings of fruit with herbs and minerals. We could add some to our breakfast protein shake. Fruit of the Spirit is a unique whole fruit puree. Fruit of the Spirit contains fresh fruit native to the Holy Land and alkaline minerals from the Dead Sea. With no added sugars, Fruit of the Spirit is a unique product from 5 years of work from science-based nutritional experts. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Heard here in KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on this Wednesday version of the show. A long time coming, I'll have to say, because as I said just before we took the break, we have slighted you folks. I always think that I have brought to you and continue to make it as my number one goal and objective to bring you that most current information available on how to improve your health. And I got to say that in the area of minerals, I have let you down. Well, we've not really had this topic covered well before, well, not really at all, which has prompted me to really plead for your forgiveness in this matter, but I hope to rectify today. We bring to you a company, Trace Mineral Research, dealing specifically with this issue of mineralization, your lack of minerals, your deficiencies, and how to correct them. The representative that's going to help us accomplish this goal and objective is an expert in the field. His name is Dr. Darren Starkey. He's with us right now. Let's say good morning and welcome him aboard. Good morning, Dr. Starkey.
Good morning, Dr. Courtney. How are you this morning?
I am doing so well, and as you well know, we've talked so much off air in preparation for today because really we launch more than just information today. We launch a relationship with you and your company to be able to bring to our listeners today, as well as patients who do see me, a way and an avenue to correct the deficiencies that they possess in the area of minerals. I always like when meeting an individual for the first time, and I'm bringing you to our listening audience, to allow you, Dr. Starkey, a bit of time to bring us up to speed on how it is you came to become associated with the company, why it is that you feel so strongly about these trace minerals, and have devoted literally your life now in working with bringing and educating the public with respect to how trace minerals can bring their level of health up to optimal.
I appreciate that. I've actually been with Trace Minerals Research for 20 years as their director in education, Dr. Courtney, of Research Success. My desires to go started when I was in the field where I was going through my education to become a medical student, and which of course led me to the preventative side of this field. Because of that, I literally found a fascination with basics of our health, what's not being addressed. That, of course, led me to the field of a company called Trace Minerals Research. I was introduced by a great friend who is now the owner of the company. And he gave me the opportunity to start at the very, literally the foundation of the company. I've been capable of traveling the nation throughout the past years and educating on this field. It's truly amazing what the end consumers can do for themselves once they reestablish, of course, reemphasize that foundation.
So you've been with them from the beginning, huh?
No, not the beginning. The company has actually been in 35 years.
Okay, but your relationship with the owner led you to become a member of the company, and 20 years is a pretty long relationship, no matter how you confront it. Whether it was the beginning or not, I guess, is really a moot point. You do represent your company well by bringing them by bringing to us, folks like us, a lot of information in the issue of these minerals. So why don't we try to create an awareness of how important these minerals are by talking about why we need to do the replacement, where we should be getting the minerals, what are these minerals doing in our body every day to help us, and how is it that we have developed what I believe to be quite a deficiency in all of them. Could you take that for a bit?
Sure. So let me start this way. Let me just kind of send some information out there to think about. There was a Nobel Peace Prize winner in the field of medicine back in 1912. Those mathematicians out there, think about this. He basically stated that we could tell the health of a generation by the soil in which we will either be healthy or unhealthy according to that.
According to what?
The soil.
The soil.
Which we live upon. Now, with that being stated, Dr. Courtney, think about where we're at. There was a piece of information given at a congressional hearing back in 1936 that was presented by a doctor by the name of Dr. Charles Northern that he estimated through his research studies that 99% of the American population back then were being deficient in minerals due to agricultural farming techniques. And that's not to say that we're placing the blame, of course, on the farmers by any means, but at the same time, because of our approach and our growth and, of course, which we have to feed ourselves, it's changed the way, of course, we've emphasized food and the importance, I believe, of that soil. So, in other words, if it's not in the soil, how can it be in the food? And if it's not in the food, how, of course, protect ourselves? And oftentimes, because we're such a reactive society, instead of gaining the information and knowledge about it, we don't respond until we're in crisis. And that is a crisis that you run into daily, in the fact that most individuals that contact Dr. Courtney are already dealing with a health concern, but because of their desire to help and heal themselves, they, of course, start that understanding the importance of minerals and specifically trace minerals. Because, as a society, I believe that we've been building our house of health from the roof down. We know what our vitamins, our macrominerals, our enzymes, amino acids, fatty acids, but very few of us have any information or a very addressed, we've not been educated on the field of trace minerals. Because unless you're a biochemist, a lot of these trace minerals sound extremely foreign and often dangerous. But I assure you that when you start to focus on that foundational need of our body, there's nothing more valuable or important to our health, because they literally, I believe, give that function back to our bodies. To me, I like to think it this way, Dr. Courtney, is that, kind of like a symptom. We've been drowning ourselves in all these fashionable, but I still hear the same comment daily. I feel as though I'm missing or I'm not gaining my health back. Yet, it's like gathering 100,000 of the world's finest physicians. That is the benefit of the trace minerals, because they truly are the conductor of our system and help all systems function as intended, whether that be a nutrient, capable of being absorbed or assimilated, the very function of our muscles, our organs, our cells.
Well, it makes some sense to envision how our foods are so depleted. We talk about vitamins all the time on this show, and I think our listeners are the most aware of just anybody out there. They're so knowledgeable when it comes to making sure that their bodies receive that which their foods can't provide. They understand perfectly well how it is that the soils have been depleted of vitamins and the like. And but this issue of trace minerals, I do believe that you're right, is often ignored because of, for whatever reason, the issue of not allowing the body to get those sources from the foods is just evolving to become, it's less and less possible with each advancing year to get it from our foods. So you got to replace it in another way. And Trace Mineral Research, of course, comes up with their signature product, the Concentrace line, to do just that. Let's talk a bit about what's contained in these trace minerals.
The Concentrace Trace Mineral Drops, of course, is our flagship product. That's what we're best for, Dr. What we've done here is that if you look at the ways that, I guess, the water cycle, as our soils become depleted, so our seeds. And what we've done at Trace Minerals Research is we have access to a body of water. It's called the Great Salt Lake, that we've learned how to, of course, harvest fluid through a special evaporative process. Against this, a low sodium concentrated mineral product that we call concentrate, that supplies all these trace minerals their natural balance. That one thing I love to state behind this product, Dr. Courtney, is that science can't duplicate it, man can't manufacture. It's Mother Nature at her very finest, so it's perfectly balanced. And when we readdress that foundational need with this type of a product, I think oftentimes what we face today is that we hear, from all sources, well, all we have to do is just eat our fruits and vegetables and we'll get what we need out of them. Well, I think we've made the point clear that if you're not readdressing that very topic, we leave ourselves vulnerable. In fact, let me go back to a point made in that 1936 document. One of the statements that this doctor addresses that no matter how delicate that is in our body, the minerals, it will suffer and shorten our lives. With that 99% number, I think that's a blaring figure that should be addressed today, because I believe, Dr. Courtney, that as a society, we either cook it, eat it out of the or pick up. Did I miss anything there?
It seems to be the source for a lot of the individuals in this country, for sure,
in other words,
their food source.
Very little raw as a society because of our fast-paced, high-stress type lifestyles. And yet, the one thing I love to point out about this product is I believe it's like raw diet from a mineral standpoint that we have control and consistency over. And I believe the word consistency is ultimately the deciding word that's lacking in our health.
Now, when it comes to these trace minerals that are contained in your signature product, Concentrace, how many trace minerals are in that stuff?
We've identified 72 trace minerals. We believe that all 88 occur, but we haven't found the technical data or the group technical enough to be able to give us that supportive information. So, on all of our information, Dr. Courtney, you'll see that we've identified those 73 trace minerals in that product.
I know, and there's some so exotic that I actually can't recall hearing about hafnium. I mean, I've never heard of such a thing yet. It's in there, huh? And there's some body system, there is some enzyme system, there is some pathway that requires a molecule of hafnium in our body, that it better be there or that system isn't going to work optimally. Is that a fair way to take a look at all 72 of these, that they have a role to play to some degree, greater or lesser, in body metabolic processes, and when it's not there, your body has to do a workaround, and the workaround is never as good as the originally intended mechanism would be. Is that a fair assessment?
That is a perfect assessment, I believe.
So we're doing workarounds. We're doing workarounds so frequently that our body's confused. it really has to come up with another solution when the real solution would be give the nutrients and minerals, the traces that your body needs to allow all the enzyme systems to work as they were intended and not require the body to do these workarounds, which at some point they lose their capability to even function at all.
You're correct. That's the one thing that, in fact, there's not a scientist alive, Dr. Courtney, today, I believe, on the planet, give us exact knowledge or research information of what trace minerals do within our body. We just know, of course, that, as you mentioned perfectly, I believe, an explanation that is very understandable, that these elements, until we fully understand them, are absolutely a part of everything. The blood, lymphatic fluid, amniotic, extracellular solutions, they're absolutely there in proper proportion. And of course, if in fact it's not there, I think that the word that most of us dread is we're scared to death of the word disease, Dave, right, Dr. Courtney?
Yeah, say.
Yet at the same time, if you think about that word, anything that is lacking in the body can cause a dysfunction in our system. Until, of course, we readdress it, whether it be hydration, foundation, nutrition, somewhere along the way we have to, put that foundation back in place. And when we do, I think that our bodies will let us know very quickly as to what we've done and how we've done it. And the wonderful thing about this concept, Dr. Courtney, is it's repeatable daily. You don't have to be chemists. You don't have to be brilliant scientists to feed the body. And yet, what amazes me about our body is that it's such a complex system, and yet it's such a simplistic. We're capable of very simplistically give the ultimate response from that complex nature of our body. Does that make sense?
Well, it does make sense. I'm going to tell you something else. I've received so much reading material and visual material from you and your company, and I don't know if it's going to be possible, but I'm going to tell you that you have like a video, like a DVD, a disc, and on that disc you do a number of experiments with your trace minerals. I will tell you, whoever thought about doing it, your materials in this way was a genius, because what you've done by virtue of that DVD, that little disc, in an instant you make you drive the point home that it can't be made any other way by doing a couple of experiments literally on the air, or were filmed as you did them. I don't know how effective you are in explaining them. First, I'd like to say, is it possible for listeners such as are listening to us today to get a hold of that DVD? Because I think, although words are going to help us today, nothing quite equals the ability to see how well these minerals work, as does those experiments you do literally on your DVD.
How about we do this, Dr. Courtney? We'll send those to your office.
You're going to send me a bunch of these DVDs, are you?
I can send you a bunch of those DVDs, and it's also, of course, for those that have access, that they can turn to traceminerals.com. And we've got those little segments so that they can visualize it there as well.
So they could actually dial us up at traceminerals.com, and you have a way right there on the opening page that they could click onto the videos, and they could see them there too, right? All right, so fair enough.
To what you're just talking about, just to kind of we give 3 little simple demonstrations that are, I believe, the concept of is believing. Once you see the response, hopefully we understand why it's so vital that we put it in, but we do conductivity tests, because that's the one thing that trace minerals do that most people completely overlook or have not been educated is again, the definition of death in America is not when our heart stops, but when all the electrical impulse in the brain.
Yeah, that's your famous see the light experience.
Yeah.
Could you describe? I don't know how words are going to do it, but if there's anybody that would know how to verbally describe what that experiment did and what it's supposed to represent, try to let our listeners benefit from your words right now about seeing the light.
So in this case, what we do is we take a simple test that we call the electrical demonstration. We put a positive negative charge, and many of those that are in science will know, most individuals understand that when they put a positive negative charge into a potato, we get an electrical response.
You have a light bulb, don't you?
Light up a light bulb.
You have a light bulb.
What we like to do is we like to take it a little bit further and test fruits, vegetables, all ranges. Because again, the variation. Now that ion transfer, or in this case, that conductivity of that particular food will give us an electrical response. Now, the reason why we show this, Dr. Courtney, is that we want people to know that there's a difference out there in the forms of minerals that are available to our society, or to the end consumer. Some of these are, of course, one that I like to, there's two definitions out there that I like to explain. One's called colloidal minerals.
Yes, we hear about colloidal minerals, colloidal silver, colloidal. What's the term colloidal mean?
Well, the word colloidal means large aggregate clump of mineral. So, in other words, these companies, they have to find it, they grind it, they leach it, they suspend it. Because it's in a suspension, our bodies still have to go through a digestive process in order to break them down. Now, let me ask you that. How many times in a week do you deal with those patients dealing with constipation?
Dealing with what?
Constipation.
Oh, it's a frequently reported symptom here in this office, especially in thyroid disease, which I see a whole bunch of.
Okay. So in other words, this very concept of digestion is a huge troubling issue out there. And think about this, 77% of our meat starts in that gut. If it is non-existent or sluggish, that's your bottom dollar that everything else in the body, of course, resembles what our digestive process is. So in other words, if we have to depend on our digestive to fully assimilate or of course, break down these minerals, chances are we're not going to get them. Yet what we do is we put that positive negative charge into a colloidal mineral, and the response, of course, will let them visualize that in our system. What we offer is a product, with the concentrates are known as ions, or ionic charge, or ionized. And by definition of that, it's an atom or a group of atoms that carry this positive and negative charge. If you think about the way the body functions, it's by that positive and negative charge. So when we put that, when we put one drop of this concentrate into a positive negative charge, well, in this case, we put it into a water, just a basic distilled solution, and then put the positive negative charge, and of course, the results, Dr. Courtney, that you witnessed.
Well, that's the point. When you visualize it, it makes the words seem just pale in comparison, because, folks, when he says you're watching literally him plug into an apple, let's say, and a light bulb lights. The idea being that there is a conductivity of nutrients and electrolytes that allow for the passage of electricity. So you plug into various foods, and lo and behold, the thing lights. Dimly lighting, but it lights. Then you put the colloidal minerals out there, and I think the point you're trying to make is these are in suspension. They are not dissociable. They don't allow for the free flow of energy. But one drop, and I mean to tell you, I counted, and it was one drop of your minerals, and this bulb lit up brighter than any other the foods had previously done, which that message was driven home to me in a way I can't ever forget now, by virtue of that little experiment, how well conductivity occurs, because these minerals in your product are freely dissociable. They don't need to be digested. They are already in an assimilable form. Am I getting this right?
Absolutely.
Well, that experiment, I hope listeners take me up on what I think to be a visual that has no equal when it comes to words trying to explain it. So I hope we mere mortals trying to do that can be trumped by having our listeners either dial up traceminerals.com or come to my office and get a copy of the DVD, which they can proudly take home and always have in their own resource library. Fair enough?
Sounds great.
Sounds good to me too. You do another experiment, okay, which I never quite would have thought of, and it has to do with the concept of pH. Now, I didn't really think of minerals as performing such a function. Every one of my listeners pretty much knows to the person that we want to seek alkalinity, and that we're so acidic, and acidity sort of equates to disease, and alkalinity equates to health, and we're always constantly trying to move toward alkalinity. I thought it was really uncanny how you drove that point of alkalinization home by virtue of your minerals. Could you take a minute and try to verbally describe what I think, once again, that DVD does better than you're going to be able to do, but give it a try.
Sure. So basically what we do is we take this, of course, pH standing for potential hydrogen. One thing that I like to do here, Dr. Courtney, is kind of simplify that concept. I mean, if you think about it, we can live 2 to 3 days without water, and 2 to 3 minutes without oxygen. The most important element of our existence is the element of oxygen, and yet the more acidic we become, the more oxygen is deprived our system, which of course leaves us vulnerable to all forms of health. Yet the more alkaline we become, the more oxygen-rich we become. And there's our protection, because very little can actually exist in an oxygen-rich environment, correct?
I'm with you so far.
So what we like to do is we take this little tape, of course everybody's familiar with that, kind of that full test. We of course put distilled water in with an acid called red, and then at that point what I like to do is I like to put in probably the most acidic solution that we willingly dump into our bodies daily as a society, and that's soda pop.
Oh yeah, you get a drop of soda pop.
Soda pop. And we put it into a base solution, and it turns it completely acidic.
And I mean very acidic, just a drop or two.
Just a drop, yep. At this point, we test it against other mineral products, another mineral product, and of course, I believe at this point, marketing is thrown out the window, because one of the things that we like to denote is that when you put that foundation back in, and remember, if we ate that raw fruit, vegetable, nut, grain, legume type diet, typically that would denote what type of body? An alkaline body type. Instead, of course, of a high refined, like I mentioned earlier in the show, if you took it out of a pickup window, that of course denotes probably a dead food or of course an acidic body. Well, our point to this is that by putting 1 drop of concentrate back into that acidity, it buffers that acid and pulls it right back to the alcohol. And so you see that visual response. Now remember, that's not a true depiction of what's going on in the blood, but I believe that what this product is capable of doing, Dr. Courtney, is restore those storage days that are being lost daily due to the fact of our diets, our lifestyles, our stress, that is pulling these minerals from our cells, tissue, organs, and of course eventually that bone to maintain that optimal health of the blood. But it's not until we get into an organ or a bone health concern that we can address the storage days that are being robbed, and I believe that that's what this little visual aid that we do trying to denote is that we have to rebalance the body by putting these trace minerals back into the body, and I believe that's where that exercise is helping bring back that alpha.
Yeah, I think in other words that the body is exposed to so much acidification on a daily basis, your body won't tolerate that. It won't allow that to exist. It is always attempting to buffer and to get your pH to an alkaline state, which it may never actually achieve, but it's always out there trying. And where it has to leach the chemicals from, and what parts of the body, bone being a big one, by the way, it's going to attempt to reestablish a normal pH, when in fact it can't ever fully establish that normal pH. You must assist your body in being able to do it, and I just would have never thought. And by the way, that thing about one drop, once again, is a visual that you cannot, in words alone, make up. You've got to see it. One drop brings you to such a level of alkalinity that by taking a daily supplement, you just know that you're going to be able to maintain a better pH than you ever did before without the minerals being present. Do I say this in a way that makes sense to you?
Made perfect sense.
All right. I hope it did to our listeners too. Because this issue of pH, they already comprehend very well, but I don't think, and because I didn't think, that the mineralization and appropriate minerals played such a role in getting this pH established, when it plays, evidently, a major role in normalizing pHs. Fair enough said?
Absolutely. I think that one point to kind of simplify what we're saying is that if we lived in a perfect world where our soil was balanced, we'd be teaching this concept to not have to reemphasize the treatment. So, to me, that bring this into a nutshell, that concentrated trace mineral drop gives us that balance, just like that of a healthy diet, if we were capable of living. All
right. I think we're making a heck of a case for how important these minerals are. Intuitively, our listeners here could appreciate why you'd have to supplement for them. I think it's easily enough brought across to them. I think you help us by those visuals. I'm going to encourage listeners once again, either go to the website, traceminerals.com, click on videos. You'll see the very experiments we're talking about, or come on to my office, get a copy of the disc and take it home and do the same. What I'd like to, Dr. Starkey, is take a short break. When we come back, actually talk about the product itself, how you should take it, what levels, what amounts you should be taking, the forms that the product comes in, and of course they're all going to be available here, right here in my office, starting today. Fair enough?
Great.
Okay, we got a caller in. We'll just hold off on that caller. Caller, don't go away when we come back. You don't mind taking a question either, do you, Dr. Starkey?
No, absolutely not.
All right. We're with Dr. Darren Starkey. We've launched, folks. Not a failure to launch. We've launched. And we've launched Trace Minerals. We're talking about it. They'll be back in a moment with Dr. Darren Starkey.
To the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asked you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Through the Spirit. The blessings of Through the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Through the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Through the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Through the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, It just doesn't quite produce the results that you were looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, M.D. is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health here on a Wednesday morning version of the show. We are launching a relationship today with a company that I think, bar none, is one of the finest representatives of the supplement industry in what they do. They deal with minerals, folks, trace minerals. They get them from the Dead Sea, the Great Salt Lake in Utah. And we have a representative of the company today with us. His name is Dr. Darren Starkey. Dr. Starkey, you still with us, my friend?
I am.
By the way, we had a caller. I don't know if they're still there. Please, are you still there? Caller, come on in. Do you have a question for the doctor?
Yes, Dr. Courtney and Dr. Starkey.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Is this Mr. McWilliams?
Yeah, this is...
Oh, I'm getting to know you so well by hearing you on the phone. I get your voice down already.
Yeah.
This is Mr. McWilliams, Dr. Starkey. I think he's the poster child for trace mineral research. Say hello to one another.
Hey, Dr. Starkey, how you doing?
Good morning, Ray. How are you, sir?
Feel pretty good. I just wanted to call in and give a little short testimonial of how the minerals have corrected my heart arrhythmia.
It all started with you, dear sir, about another listener brought to our attention the fact that you had AFib. And why don't you take it from there? I'll let you talk about the reason why you are the poster child for trace mineral research. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Hey, my heart arrhythmia began in 1993 with skip beat. I guess that's better known as PVCs.
PVCs, premature ventricular contractions.
Yes.
Okay, that's pop quiz. All right, how did I do?
It's real good.
Okay.
And that's how it began. And they were very aggravating. And it would beat 5 times and skip 1. And that went on for probably six months or more. And then one night at about 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up with my heart pounding around in my chest.
Yeah,
and,
that was AFib at that point.
That's what it was. And I didn't know 20 years ago about atrial fibrillation. And I didn't know if I was going to die or not.
Sure felt like it, didn't it?
Boy, it sure did. And it only lasted a few minutes and then it stopped. And nothing happened then for about another month. I was driving to work. It done it again. And from then on, it happened more frequent, and the durations were longer. And in 1997, I seen my family doctor about it, and they put a 24-hour heart monitor on me. And of course, as luck would have it, it wasn't in AFib that 24 hours, but it did show the skip beat. And he told me the skip beats were nothing to worry about, and that's all they could find. He told me just to live with whatever else was going on. So that's what I tried to do until 2002, whenever I ended up in hospital with this arrhythmia thing. And by that time, the AFib was in for like 3 weeks at a time.
Sure.
And then it would kick out for a few hours, and then it would go right back in again. And the only options they gave me was ablation and a pacemaker or drugs. And I opted for give the drugs a try, and none of them worked. They finally had me on flecainide, which is a drug of last resort because of the dangerous side effects. And it did stop the AFib for a couple of weeks, and then it came back with a vengeance again. And when they upped the dosage, that's when I started getting some severe side effects. My vision was getting
Yeah,
blurred.
from the medicine.
I was dizzy, so I had to discontinue the drug. And that's about the time I discovered this radio station. And I started talking to just about everybody that had a show on there, including yourself. And I talked to you and Arlene Brecker about the problem, and she was talking about the miraculous magnesium. And I tried everybody's electrolytes. Nothing was working. And I tried the capsules. I tried tablets. I tried liquids, powders. Nothing was working. And but the results in the hospital didn't show any signs of heart disease. There was no bad valve. There was no plaque. They couldn't find nothing wrong with the heart. My pulse was over 100.
Yeah.
Blood pressure was like 150 over 95 because of the AFib. And I tried all the minerals. And I was beginning to think that the electrolytes weren't the problem after trying all this. And one day I was in a health food store and I noticed Trace Mineral Research products on the shelf there. I went in for some vitamin E and looked up, here's the concentrate mineral drops. Now, it says on the front of the bottle, the most powerful, all-natural, pH-balancing trace minerals in the world. And I thought, well, that would be worth a try. So I bought a bottle of trace mineral drops and a bottle of the Mega Mag liquid magnesium. This was on a Friday. I went straight home, and I put 12 drops each in 8 ounces of water. I drank that 6 times a day. By Monday morning, I noticed the symptoms were a little bit less. It was still aggravating me a lot, but the symptoms were a little bit less. Each day that week, the symptoms were a little bit less, a little bit less. Although the blood pressure was still 150 over 95, pulse was still around 105. But the symptoms were just not as great. By the following week, on a Wednesday, I got up, checked my pulse, blood pressure like I always did. Everything was the same. And I went in to sit down and eat lunch, and I felt a great calm come over me. And I checked my pulse, and it was beating at even 68 beats.
You converted.
Yep.
You converted from AFib to normal sinus rhythm.
Yeah.
In a week.
In about a week and a half. And my
they say that that's possible.
Yeah.
That's Williams. I mean, did you think that was possible?
I didn't know. I'll tell you, yeah, it was almost like a miracle. And my blood pressure, it dropped down to 118 over 68.
Sure.
Everything just came to an end.
Well, it's only appropriate, Mr. McWilliams. Your story came by us via another listener, and it sort of compelled me to go further with this, and this is really why we arrived where we're at today. It's so appropriate that you call up today and recount the story in your own words, because it was what really initiated in me the desire to want to contact Dr. Starkey. Yeah. We thank you so much for calling in today, and we're hoping that you continue to monitor us in the future and give us further callbacks as we continue our relationship with Trace Mineral Research.
That sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.
Well, Ray, did you pay him to do it?
No, Doc, I didn't.
Oh, boy. Look.
It couldn't happen at a better time.
Couldn't happen at a better time. What I don't want to miss out on, with just a couple minutes left, we have the product here in the office. We are going to be, we've launched our relationship with you. In the remaining moment, could you talk about the forms of these minerals, how much you should take, and that unique offer you have where if you, you just got to feel better or you're going to get their money back?
Absolutely. So what you'll be receiving, we've got a 4-ounce bottle and an 8-ounce bottle of the concentrated trace mineral drops. A 4-ounce bottle, of course, is a month and a half supply. An 8-ounce bottle is a 3-month supply. Of course, it's taken as directed on the bottle. We also, now, one thing I want to point out here, Dr. Courtney, how many times have we heard the concept an apple a day kept the doctor away?
Every day I hear it, yep.
It wasn't what the apple tastes like, right? It was what the apple once offered. With this particular product, the one thing I want to throw caution out there for those individuals that are making health-promoting decisions with their taste buds is that if you don't properly dilute this with water, juices, soup, whatever you put it in, of course, there's no additives, no preservatives, no sweeteners. It's very, very concentrated. So, in some cases, you have to be creative in the way that you dilute it. But as long as you don't taste it, you're taking it perfect.
Okay, good point.
40 drops a day for the average individual. And some might say, well, that's a lot, isn't it? Well, to me personally, we lose just breathing alone about 3 cups of body fluid a day, right? So with that being stated, we're constantly, there's no way our bodies can synthesize minerals. We have to put them back.
You got to put them back.
So in this case, I recommend to start very slow, because unless your body is accustomed to a raw diet, I would recommend starting with 10 drops a day and doing that for about 5 days just to allow your body to acclimate. And then start increasing by 10 drops until you get to 40 drops.
So you get to 40.
One thing I would also recommend is that we don't just breakfast once a day, right? We eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a snack. So feel free to divide those numbers throughout the day so you're constantly nourishing the body throughout the day.
Tell you what we got to do. I am feeling so bad about this, but at least we get bongas in the background, Dr. Starkey. That means it's our time out of here.
Okay.
You're going to promise to come back again, right?
Absolutely.
I'll off air talk to you about when I'll tell you when we get together on Friday, ladies and gentlemen, when he will be returning. But we've now launched with Trace Mineral Research. Happy to have brought you this today. I thank Mr. McWilliams. I thank Dr. Starkey, and I thank you. Until Friday, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney with Dr. Darren Starkey saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724